Hello, 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 you lovely, lovely people on this rotating oblate spheroid. Thank you so much for joining our little mass debate after the debate. You know, just, there is a link there if anyone else would like to join. We're just gonna have a little chat, little discussion. Yeah, and it was a fun evening. Very fun evening. I'll just say hello to you guys in the chat. Joe Black, The Snark, Dave McKeegan, Legend. What an absolute legend. There's someone there, Deadly Dave. He's quite desirable too. We have Proto 34, Charlie Welch, Rachy 00000. Thank you all for joining. And we've got Gary Wybanger as well. Hello, mate. Horizons are simple optical limits because of acute visual angles to the surface, which compresses and foreshortens visual information into increasingly smaller space in the observer's FOV. Mate, your cut and paste button must be getting tired right now, because you just say that every time, mate, and it's just not correct, I'm afraid, buddy. How are you, Dave? And thank you everyone for joining.
Oh God, that hurt. That hurt so much. Oh my God.
Just got to thank Elbow. She went to the car to get me some more tobacco. So thank you. There she is. There she is. Yeah, I mean it was excruciating. we did an hour and a half, mate, and it got to the point when I was just thinking, we are actually just wasting our time, because he will not accept any type of evidence of anything.
Well,
And
it started very early. It started very early because we were supposed to be on, as you said, at 9, and I jumped into the chat at 8:30, and there was one or two people saying some stuff, and I said some stuff, and they banned me immediately. Immediately banned me. And then they claimed that they banned me because I was being disrespectful, and everything I said, they said as well. You know, it's like, what the fuck is your double standards? Like, you know, just
yeah. And it's what I became towards the end. Like, Flatzoid actually wasn't letting me get in a word in. You know, it was like he'd go on like a 30 or 40-second rant, and then I was obviously trying to kind of have some words myself, and I was realizing, you know what, you know, like a football match when the percentage of possession, you know, it should be, in a debate, it should be 50-50, really, shouldn't it? The possession shouldn't be up to the debater, you know, like it should be equal.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It's more just kind of like, because I actually don't think you spoke any less than he did, but it was just the way it was done. It was more so, he would say something that kind of requires you, you know, he would say something wrong. So you were required to, you know, stand in and say, hang on, that's wrong. And then he'd say, oh, you're interrupting me. And you're like, well, yeah, because you've said something wrong. And then you would be speaking, and yeah, sure, he would let you speak, but then he would just come on and say a bunch of other wrong stuff again. And if you went to try and interrupt him to say that was wrong, he was getting annoyed at that. Now, I kind of understand it was starting to sound a bit, you know, over each other chatty. But what kind of gets me is, like, we started off, and it was even what I was trying to talk to him about before you arrived along, was we were talking about burden of proof. And sure, he pops up the definition of burden of proof, which we both agree upon. Like, we both agree upon the definition. There's no problem with the definition of burden of proof. The problem is who has it. So every time I would say, well, we need to find out who has the burden of proof, he would say, here's the definition of the burden of proof. I'm like, yeah, I know that. We don't disagree here. What we disagree on is who has it. And he wouldn't accept that. And the moderator that was on his side at one stage brought up an example where he said, well, if I say the earth, or if I say the sky is blue, and I'm not going to mess it up if I say it now, but it was just very much that they just were assuming that if he says something, it's automatically a fact, and if you say something, it's automatically a claim. And you're like, well, no, hang on, they're both claims, you know, and you know, we got to figure out who has to demonstrate what here. What I think he wasn't getting, when you were getting to the end, when we were just going around in circles, what he wasn't getting, the point that you were trying to make, when you mentioned the tornado, was he kept saying, oh, well, it's all within the same system. And you're like, well, hang on. But a tornado in the system is beside a piece of air in the system that isn't the tornado. And there's no barrier between those two, which is what you were trying to say. And he kept saying, but it's in the system. And we're like, yeah, we know. This is the point.
It's happening exactly where you're asking for it to happen, you know. And that's when you realise, like, the debate is actually going to go nowhere, is it? If you know what I mean.
Like, I mean, there is no debate.
Like, well, there is no debate. I mean, it's almost like, you know, you almost have to go like that when you say the debate, to be honest, because you can't really debate facts, can you? But thanks to JSS Tiger, $5. I spent $20 on super chats destroying Flatzoid. One was, if Flat Earth feels it has no burden of proof, the movement may as well be dead. Very true. The fact that they don't even understand that they do have the burden of proof is just quite worrying, really, isn't it? If you know what I mean. And I used, which I thought was quite a good example, the kind of example of Bigfoot, and he agreed with that, you know, and then I kind of tried to turn it back on him and say, well, the same logic you're now twisting in your head.
But the problem with that was, when you mentioned the Bigfoot example, he was thinking, yeah, globe is the Bigfoot. And you're like, well, no, it's not. You've taken the wrong point of the example here.
Yeah. Rachel's right. You could
Exactly,
never do
Rich.
the
Yeah,
demonstration because you would have to get out of the so-called container dome ferment for it to be accepted. And there you
yeah,
go, right there. You know, and then anytime someone does do anything outside of there, which happens all the time on the
fake.
ISS, um, well,
Yeah, they
outside of
try
there,
fake.
it doesn't even exist. But
Yeah,
you know, on the ISS, you know, people have you seen those balls of water on the
yeah.
ISS? You know, and they want to form a sphere. You know, and it seems like the natural state that these things want to do is just like we want to be spherical. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know. It's just I did enjoy at one stage though. He asked you, had you ever performed any cartography? And you said no. Fair enough. And then you asked him, had he ever performed any cartography? And he said yes. And then I proceeded to laugh hysterically. And as I was laughing hysterically, he was saying, "You can laugh if you want." Well, I was a scout, and in the scouts we use maps. And I'm like, "Oh Jesus, fuck! Really? Is that what you're going
yeah,
with?" Like,
yeah.
fuck
It's like
me.
this guy the other day, Trinity something, but he was saying like, you know, you speak to any Amazonian elder and he would have studied sky clocks, you know, and I'm like, you know, no disrespect to the Amazonian elder, but there's
We
been
know more now.
things happen since then, you
Yeah,
know,
we know more now.
and you can't just, yeah,
I always laugh at that. That's a very much used in religion stuff too. You know, like, oh, well, ancient people said this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, okay, ancient people said stuff. And then we did more research, we got smarter, and now we don't say it anymore. You know,
would you go to an ancient dentist?
I would
Do you know what
not.
I mean? Like, no, because they would rip your, you know, yeah, you don't know what they'd be doing.
No,
Uh,
they prescribe you, you know, a coffin because yeah, you're gonna die. So yeah, just don't worry about it. You know.
yeah,
Oh Jesus.
and I mean, to be honest, that's no disrespect to these kind of, you know, even say witch doctors and tribe leaders, anything like that. Let's not take the piss out of that, like because they probably do have knowledge we don't, and that is about the earth and nature and what you can get from that. But they they're not like the be all and end all on whether the earth's a globe or not. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
well, I
they've
mean,
never left the jungle.
again, I've no disrespect for anyone that wants to hold any belief, right? You're entitled to hold any belief, no problem. And it's the same thing with anybody. Sometimes people come on and they go, "Oh, you don't know a thing." I've no problem with somebody not knowing things. The difference is when you don't know a thing or when you don't have evidence for a thing and you come on and you assert with certainty that you do. And
Yeah,
that's where it makes a difference. Like you can have whatever beliefs you want. If you have a belief and you say, "Yeah, but look, I don't really have a way of showing it, so I kind of keep it to myself." And you're like, "All right, fair enough. You do you. You know, absolutely no problem." But it's where you come on and you go, "Well, hang on, I have this thing that I don't really have any evidence for, but I need you to change your life to suit it." You're like, "Well, now we have a different story."
yeah, it is, isn't it? You know, and there was no, like I kept trying to hammer on him is that he was showing no evidence. You know, and it is just a kind of a case of yeah, of course he's gonna tomorrow he'll release a video saying like STST stormed off because he had nothing and he'll spin this into whatever he wants to. Of course
Yeah,
he will.
who cares?
It's the pigeon playing chess. But
Yeah.
you know, to anyone actually with a sane mind, not being funny, and anyone honest, they would obviously see which one actually there was being truthful. You know,
Well, that's it's just
but
oh,
most of them aren't honest, though. That's the trouble.
well, I don't like some of the people that were arguing with me in the chat there. I didn't get the impression that they were being dishonest with me because it really just seemed like parroting.
Mm,
Um,
yes.
and there was a couple of people, all right, who decided they were going to try and insult me and call me beta and ask me what my gender pronouns were and a few of them basically said I was going orange and you know like obviously the lighting in here is currently terrible so my face is orange and that's fine but like I was watching all these things coming down and I'm going yeah all of these things what they do is they change the shape of the globe yep
Yeah, that's so true. Rachie, obviously
but
we've got Rachie here right now. Thanks. She gave me an email. Um, and it's just I find it so interesting actually to watch Rachie's journey. You know, we kind of were all here to see it happening in real time. And I think a lot of flat earthers, because my channel basically, before I turned back to a Glober, my channel only had about 300 subscribers.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So like, yeah, nobody had really heard of me. So people go, oh, he never existed. He never really. But with Rachie, she has been around and everybody has seen her for a good, 2 or 3 years now.
It won't matter though. But it
No,
won't
I know.
matter.
But,
Look at Ranty.
I wish
at Ranty.
it would.
Is Ranty now a fake flat earther? Like they again, they were in that chat saying nobody has ever been a flat earth believer and now isn't. And you're like, well, hang on, Ranty, so he wasn't now as well. And sure, Rachie might be okay now, but in a few months' time, when she's definitely shown that she's not interested in flat earth anymore, they will say, well, she wasn't a true flat earther either. You know, and it's just it doesn't matter. Everything just has to be denied. Because like again, I like literally one person in the comment went, the globe is dead. And I'm like, what? Like, do you understand how fringe? Yeah,
that was actually the title of one of my videos once, bro. Like,
there's literally this fringe small group that almost no one has heard of, and they say, yeah, the rest of the world is dead, and our thing is. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But I have to say, and I don't know if this is very controversial, so bear with me, and I do apologize. I do think Flatzoid did a good job in that debate of seeming like he was doing well.
Yes, of course. Of course he did. All flat earthers do that, dude.
I don't think. No. He did a very good job of baiting you and of getting you to say what you wanted to say, and then managing to try and make you sound like you didn't know what you were talking about. He did a good job of that, and that's disappointing, but he did a bit. So yeah, I hope that's not caused any offense, but
well, you shouldn't have said that on the stream live, dude. He's gonna clip that now, isn't he? He's gonna clip that.
Yeah, he is. But the thing is, he can clip whatever he wants. We'll just cut those 11 frames out, and it'll all be fine. Because there's
I won't ask any further. I was going to say I won't ask any further then, because I will probably become offended if I don't know if the outside. I don't know. I thought I did well, to be honest. There was a few times when he was trying to call out things, and I put him back in his place. But I suppose I'm going to be the most biased person because I was one of the debaters, So I'm going to be very biased.
Yeah, but near the end, he clearly got you annoyed. Like, he succeeded in getting you annoyed near the end. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. He got me annoyed at the start. So I'm not trying to say you shouldn't have been. Like, I mean, like, he got me annoyed at the start. But near the end, he clearly did get you annoyed.
So what you're saying is I lasted longer than you at getting annoyed. Like,
yes, way longer.
I mean, that's basically what it is, because it comes down to the pigeon playing chess, doesn't it, really? If you know what I mean. Like, I could have been debating a baboon, I'm not being funny, and, its followers will agree with what it said. And I knew that before the debate started. I know Flatzoid's going to go away and make 2 or 3 days worth of content saying, like, I destroyed STST. But deep down, he didn't.
Is Rachie still in the chat?
I'm not sure.
I would be really interested to hear what she thought, because of her freshness to the sides, like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, jump on, Rachel. I think is it pinned at the top?
She's pinned it herself once or twice anyway. So
the snark. I need to go. Long day, starting early enough tomorrow. Cheers all, and especially my favourite ex-flat earther, STS2. I'll still have that crown. Yeah. I can still beat Ranty and Rachie in some ways.
Well, you did stick to your guns there. Fair play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got him on that one, didn't I? And like you said, he was so worried about losing his revenue stream that he changed it, if you know what I mean. I gave him too much credit and said like, oh, he's doing this because he won't do that, and he went, dude, he's doing it because he will lose his revenue stream. It's as simple as that. Like,
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. Like, yeah. And there's a thing, and I didn't call him that, and actually he didn't. There was no point in going there, was there? For him to call me a fake ex-flat earther, there's no point in me saying, "Oh, you're a fake flat earther," because really, then what is the point of the debate?
Yeah, then you're just throwing insults at each other.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that we started from a point further than that, which was all I asked.
He did do that near the end. Near the end, he just decided he was just going to just throw ad hominems at you. So that was. I think at that stage he was getting ramped up or whatever have you. I think I agree, Rachie.
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly on flat Earth side, but I mean, even on my side, like I say, I don't know everything, and I knew that would happen when I debated Flatzoid tonight. He knows how to sound like he knows what he's talking about on these silly subjects, because he's just parroting what he's heard off of other people. But they aren't citations; they aren't backed by evidence, are they? He's just saying words, and to the outlier, that can sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What he seemed to be doing there was like he would talk about gas pressure, and then he would bring up a citation for gas pressure, which was a valid citation for gas pressure. But that's not what you were getting at. So he did say a thing, and he did bring a citation to back up the thing he said. But the thing he said was not actually a retort to what you had said. And that's where he was doing the escaping by. It was like you would say something, and then he would say something similar but slightly different, and then show a citation for that. Or like as we said with the other one, where he was using a citation to just say one part of it. Like, I mean, when we were talking about gas pressure, sure, gas pressure is contained in a container. That can happen. But the thing is, exactly as you pointed out, but sometimes it doesn't. And the thing is, for the globe to work, sometimes it doesn't is fine, because we have containers and we have gravity. So we can have sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. However, sometimes it doesn't kills flat Earth immediately, because it would have to be always in a container for flat Earth. So yes, he can bring up some examples of where it does require a container, and of course he can, because we most of the time have gas pressure inside of the container most of the time, but not always. And it's the not always part that ruins it. But he just kept saying, but see this example where it does. And you're like, but sometimes not. Like my example of the tornado. Even when you were saying about the tornado, have you ever looked at the weather forecast? I'm assuming you have.
Yes.
And you see areas of high pressure next to areas of low pressure.
Low pressure, yeah.
With no container in between. Like, the weather proves gas pressure without a container.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, that's one of those things where I was trying to get him on his own level there, really, because, again, like you say, any rational person will realise that even the weather alone shows differentiating pressures without containers. But he goes that extra level, doesn't he? And again, just trying to take it to these places where, I think Rachel mentioned earlier, like you're trying to take it where we aren't. We're trying to prove where we stand, and then suddenly, like, all of this becomes very important. 1 minute you can't look up, and then the next minute, oh, actually you can. And it's just it just everything contradicts itself.
You pulled him very well on that at one stage. I can't remember what it was now, but there was where he went down one direction, and then he went the other one, and you said, "Hang on, you can't do both of these." I wish I could remember it, but that was melting my brain. So, actually, Rachel said something there as well that I think I would agree with. And what she said is, atmospheric pressure, atmo equals gas. Therefore, gas pressure. That's how it's seen. And then can you see that point, even if it's technically wrong? And absolutely, I can. I see what they're saying, and you're right. It is technically wrong, but that is definitely a problem with it. And it's that they're saying, well, the atmosphere is gas, therefore it's gas pressure, and you're like, yeah, okay, but that's not how words work for me. And there's a huge difference between colloquial speaking, which is kind of what we all do, and scientific wording. And I know people don't like to get hung up on words, but when you're trying to demonstrate evidence and you're trying to actually prove a point, or especially if you're trying to disprove something that's been accepted for years, then you need to get pedantic on words, because you can't allow stuff slip through the cracks. You know, you actually have to check every conceivable way that maybe I've made a mistake, or maybe something, you know, because if you're literally trying to say this thing that has been settled for years and years and years and years and years is wrong, you have to like be really solid in your position, not just go, yeah, no, but it is because gas, therefore gas pressure, therefore container, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just so silly, isn't it? You know, and that's what I was trying to make obvious, was like, you shouldn't need to invoke stake in this argument. Do you know what I mean?
but
Like, it
actually,
just doesn't.
he tried that with me beforehand as well, and his argument was, you know, in order to have steak, you know, you must have the cow, and then he said, so therefore you have steak, and you know, so that must mean you must have a cow, and I said, no, your claim is that you must have a container for gas pressure. We have a gas pressure and no evidence of a container, so you're wrong. And he kept saying, no, but you have to have the cow. And I was like, yeah, and we don't, which proves your point wrong. We would have to have the cow and we don't have it, so you're wrong. But he kept, just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, props. Thank you for obviously your attempt at moderating there, but clearly they just jumped on it, and didn't they? Saying, like, oh, he's white knight in STST.
Yeah,
and we
I had
knew
to be really careful.
We knew
like,
that.
I had to be really careful anytime I was coming on to say anything, or they were just going to, It was white knighting a fight to me.
We've got a couple of people, actually, dude. We've got a couple of people want to jump on live.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Joe Black and Ramon. So I'm going to... Joe Black, what a legend. I'm going to get you on there, and Ramon. So Joe Black.
Hello. How's my volume?
Good, actually, Joe. Yep, can hear you perfectly. Ramon? Oh, no, I haven't added him. He's gone. Might have been Flirt, to be honest. I never saw his name before. But, Joe, I have seen you about. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Nice one, buddy. Were you a witness to
I was, yes. I was watching.
Earlier?
It was something, as someone said.
Yeah. I don't think it's not going to go up there with Christopher Hitchens, is it? You know.
Yeah. With the gas pressure container thing, I've got an argument which completely defeats it being a flat Earth argument. Because they're saying there's a dome. What if it was more of a globe surrounding the Earth?
I mean, it's a dome on the top and a dome on the bottom. Perfect.
Yeah. So with that argument, I mean, it's obviously, silly and stuff, but doesn't that defeat the gas pressure without a container? You know, it could be a container, so it still has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose to me, and I'm only kind of quoting what I've heard, but we can look at gravity as the container, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure you know that as well. I'm not trying to teach you something new, but
and also the universe.
Kind of knew. Do you notice tonight I didn't mention gravity once, because I knew that he would try and just go on some other tangent somewhere that I was just like, do you know what? Like, I will admit I don't know much about gravity, so I'm gonna avoid that subject, if you know what I mean. But yeah, you're right. Like, at some points I did just want to go, well, the container's gravity, but I just thought, do you know what? He's gonna just think this has opened up some new can of worms, and I don't need to invoke gravity to show the Earth as a globe.
Do you know where he was going wrong with that? What he kept saying was that gas molecules will never change direction unless they hit something.
Yeah, they could heat other gas molecules.
But that's not true either, because they have a certain amount of energy as they're moving. And if they're going through any sort of resistive force at all, now, okay, the resistive force is gravity that is pushing up through, but if it's going through any resistive force at all, it's slowly going to lose that momentum. And at some point, it's going to have zero momentum, at which point it stops moving. And then, because gravity is pulling down on it, it's going to start getting minus momentum and it's going to start coming back down. Like, I mean, if he really thinks it just goes straight up and it never comes back down, I would dare him to build a rig that points a gun exactly 90 degrees up in the air, shoot it, and stay standing there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, like we were saying earlier, is the actual lack of evidence for his lack of claims even, you know? That is always the telltale sign, as people don't, you know, how often did he go, I'm not even making a claim. I'm not even claiming that.
He's
Because
desperate to not make a claim.
they know that what you're saying destroys anything they've kind of preconceptualized. Saying like the distances of Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer, they're equal on a globe, and he could not explain why one was measurably larger than the other.
Made me cross.
Sorry, he couldn't explain why one wasn't measurably larger than the other.
That made me cross. That made me cross because you were going through the thing, and basically you had said, well, look, here they look longer, but when we measure them, they're not. And his argument was, well, we don't live on a map.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know,
I must have destroyed him on that 2D surface stuff. Thinking back when, like, the explanation and him going, like, why on earth should we be able to get a map on a 2D surface? I hope that I explained that well enough. But
you did.
Maybe not.
You did.
But I don't know.
No, you did.
Well, yeah, to anyone's, like, apart from someone who's just going to sort of mirror and parrot the flat Earth side, then you did, yes.
Yeah. Nice one. That's all I'm worried about. I knew from the start no one's ever going to change Flatzoid's mind. No one's probably ever going to change his supporters in his chat. But like I said to Dave, was like, maybe if two people see it in the next 3 years that we're on the fence and they decide by watching that they're actually realise the Earth was a globe, that's a win. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a tiny section of the internet, and I always just look at it like that. It's like, you know, Flatzoid thinks flat Earth has taken over the world, you know, like it's like everyone's going to find the truth within this amount of time, and the world is everyone's going to wake up to the truth that nobody can hide any longer. And, you know, it's just tiny, you know, and I try and get that across to him. Sorry, Dave.
You're muted, by the way, Dave.
Oh, you're muted, Dave.
Yeah, sorry, that was my fault. So yeah, I was saying I don't know if I can accept that he believes it, because we all know he deleted frames from a video that definitely demonstrated he was wrong. So he chose to delete them. So I can't understand if he believed that he was correct, there would be no need to delete them. You would just, you would show how this isn't a problem. There's something wrong with this, and here's the problem. But he looked at it and decided that the only option was to actually go ahead and delete frames out of it. So as a result of that, I struggle to accept that he didn't know what he was doing there. So I don't think that he, like, if you're doing that intentionally, surely you must know you're doing something wrong. Like you're not correct, you know. But I don't know. I don't want to speak to somebody else's thoughts, but I struggle to accept that he believes it if he's willing to do that.
Like you say, you know, it is. Yeah, there's evidence on the kind of contrary, isn't there, to say like, oh, he is a fake flat earther, because as we see here, deleting frames, you know, how can you do that without prior knowledge? Like, if you know what I mean, like deleting frames is such a precise and concise thing that you can't even do that accidentally, can you? It's not like accidentally sending a message in a WhatsApp group. Like, you have gone out of your way to take that tiny sequence out. And yeah, I mean, that is so deceptive. We do actually have somebody else joined as well, if they are. Yeah, I think we're there. Paul, I'm going to let you join the stream as well, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much.
There you go, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I missed the debate. I didn't realise there was a debate on. I noticed you were live, so it's the
lucky
first
you.
time I've seen that you had the link on, so I jumped in. So yeah, unfortunately, I missed the debate. Did I miss a good one?
Yeah, well, I mean, is there ever a good one?
No, there isn't.
But,
Is there?
I mean, in all honesty, I believe I did what I hoped I would, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just looking at that from my own perspective. So I'm happy with what I did, and hopefully to any kind of realist or any real truthful person to themselves would see that I was the truthful one. But I also know that the majority of people watching that are his supporters, and no matter who it was, I would have lost. You know, it's kind of as simple as that, isn't it?
What platform was it on? So I can watch it later.
It was on Flatzoid's channel. So yeah.
Yeah.
I went to the dungeons, mate. I went to the doldrums, the kind of the alleyways where the rats lie, and
will
I kind of went there.
Will you upload it to your channel at some point, will you? So I can watch it on your channel rather than going to Flatzoids.
Yeah. I'll probably I'll download it and put it out on my channel as well.
Can I ask why you didn't just restream it onto your channel?
Yeah, you could have done that. Yeah.
I could have and should have. I should have had that set up for tonight. I sort of thought that was Dave. We could have had it live streaming on STST channel. I wish I had of, but next time, probably not with Flatzoid though, because all he did to me tonight, I'm not going back again. Do you know what I mean? I've done it once. It's like kind of, going for a shit in the forest. You have to do it sometimes, but I'm not going back there again. No.
But I was going to say, I did like what you tried to do was like have a debate about flat Earth.
Yeah.
Rather than a debate about what he doesn't think that is correct on the globe. I'd really like to see that. And you tried to get in there, but he was just having none of it.
No. Yeah. And that is like, that didn't come from me. I've just heard it through many people that debate is like, or seen it in the comment sections as like, all I see in these debates is actually people defending the globe. Like, there's no one ever that actually comes to present any type of flat Earth evidence. It's always
I wonder why that is.
Carry on, Jay.
I said, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. We all know why they don't present evidence.
Yeah, and don't you find as well that with a lot of flat earthers, they don't even agree with each other. They'll argue with each other. There's no set. What if I was having an argument today with a flat earther? Tomorrow I could be arguing with a completely different person, arguing the same point and getting a completely different argument from the flat earther, and he would actually disagree with that flat earther. It's ridiculous. I mean, to me, the science is in it. It's done. I did a debate with Witsit Gets It on Modern Day Debate. Oh, I know. The first one. It was the first debate I'd ever done, ever.
Oh, man.
It was on Modern Day Debate, and it was with Witsit Gets It. Honestly, talk about jumping into the deep end.
Oh, man, that really is.
That was a real big experience, was that? That really
fair
was
play. I would not do that. I hate Modern Day Debate.
I quite enjoy Modern Day Debate as a platform, but yeah, it gets it. I was brain made against a brick wall, literally brain made against a brick wall. My argument was navigation, because that was the bit that I felt I had the most information on. I'm a private pilot. I've got my pilot's license, so obviously I have to do navigation. And when you look at what navigation teaches and how it's all set out, my argument basically was that if we've got a globe and all the longitudinal lines and latitude lines on that globe can all be mapped out on the globe, so you can get to points on the globe, and then you take that and that's on a map, and that map corresponds with the globe that you've got. So you can take your map, you can look at the globe, they both correspond, and then you get in an aeroplane and you fly to the map, and that map corresponds with the ground you're flying over. The only shape of the Earth has to be a globe. It cannot be anything else. And also, you'll probably know yourself that once you get south of the equator, on a flat Earth, it will go out like the spokes of a bike. It will get wider and wider and wider and wider. Well, of course, once you get to the equator, they get narrower again, and that corresponds with what you've got on the. Oh, I've lost my camera. Can you still hear me?
Honestly, you're still there, Paul, mate.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like that's one of the best arguments against flat Earth. Actually, is the southern hemisphere, and obviously the kind of navigation and travel that happens there. It just destroys them, doesn't it? You know, and when these distances get so skewed out from, you know, say Argentina to Chile or something,
or even Australia itself. Like
I was trying to hit on.
But you see, he wasn't going to let us do it because he doesn't have a claim of a shape. He just wants to say you're wrong because words.
Yeah,
like
there's no point certainly with a few flat earthers. They won't argue that the flat earthers. They just argue against the globe. They'll go, well, I'm not arguing. I'm not claiming the shape of the Earth. I'm not saying the Earth is flat. I'm not saying it's any shape. What I'm saying is what the globe model says is wrong.
Yeah,
but it just isn't on every level. It just isn't.
What I always say to them, Paul, is like, surely science is about making claims. If you know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to change the whole of science, you need to make some claims.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere. If you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, you're not going to get anywhere going, oh, but no, I'm only saying it because that's what the globe says. I'm not, you know, then they suddenly go, no, I'm not claiming anything. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
You know, and then you just think,
isn't that like a safe tactic of argument? So you're not putting yourself in the firing line, so to speak. You've got all the questions, you don't have any answers to give.
Exactly. So you can't be wrong if you don't ever say anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you're not claiming anything. All you're trying to do is dispute, what the globe said, but you're not actually making any claim. Yeah, it's a bit of a cop out, really.
Yeah,
and I also do amateur radio as well. I'm sat in my shed at the moment. You've probably noticed. So I do amateur radio as well, and I do a lot of talking to the International Space Station, which I actually did a video with it. Yeah, I actually did a video. So I had the live stream from the space station coming over. I had my radio set up, and then as it showed the space station coming over, suddenly I'm starting to get it on my radio, and then I managed to talk. And how does that work? If what I'm seeing on my computer showing the space station coming over, and then suddenly my radio springs to life, and then I can talk to people through the space station, then it disappears.
That's crazy.
On the space station, there's got to be, who the bloody hell am I talking to? And it just happens to follow what it's just crazy.
So have you got a ham radio?
Yeah, if I can get my camera to come back on.
Really? So would you be able to measure the distance to the moon?
I wouldn't be able to measure the difference. There is people do. I have not managed to do it yet. I don't have the equipment for it, but you can get or do what you call moon bounce. So you can basically, if you Google moon bounce, ham radio moon bounce. So if anybody wants to do this, I've lost my camera again. The cameras just seem to be messing about. If you Google, all right. If you Google ham radio moon bounce, you'll see people basically sending a signal to the moon, and then a few seconds later, the signal will come back and they'll hear their own voice coming back from the moon. It's quite interesting. It's something I'd like to do at some point, but I've not managed to. I just don't have the equipment to do that at the moment. Let me just see if I can.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with my camera. It's a shame. I would show you my my radio if I can get my camera to right. Let's see if I can...
Obviously, because I have no idea about radio signals at all. But Sable Eagle here, you need a strong signal and a sensitive receiver for that.
You don't need a strong signal, actually. You can talk to the space station on about 5 watts because it works. Lost my camera again. It works on basically.
Surely there's a massive difference between the space station and the moon, though, isn't there? I suppose.
I don't know what sort of power they're using for the moon, but for the space station, It's only 250 miles up basically, and you've obviously got line of sight when you're transmitting. So it's like shining a torch. If you've got nothing in your way, nothing to interfere with it, the torch will go a further distance, and there's nothing to interfere with the signal. It's going straight up to the space station and comes down. But you do get what you call the Doppler effect, which is basically as the space station is coming towards you. Let me just. What band I'm on when I'm on it? I'm on 143. No, that's the wrong band. You end up being about 10 megahertz off as it's coming towards you. So say if it's at 800 would be the end frequency. As it's coming over the horizon, you'll go at 810, and then as it's getting closer, you'll start bringing your frequency down to 800, and then even go to 790 as it goes past to try and counteract the Doppler effect of the speed of the space station coming over, and as it passes overhead and then goes past, you've got to alter the frequency. So you're definitely talking to the space station. There's no other way to replicate it.
And the speed they're traveling, it's just all. Some people try and claim a weather balloon, but show me a weather balloon doing like 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, and literally, I can be talking to somebody on the space. Well, as it comes over, it's basically you use it as a repeater. So the signal goes up to the space station, then gets rebroadcasted back from the space station to another station, and you can chat with them in Europe. And then as it passes over Europe, then starts speaking to the Middle East. Then the Middle East starts speaking, and you can follow it all the way along the globe as it goes, and it 100% corresponds to the location of the space station. It can't be anything else.
That map, like you say, like the way the space station goes around the globe, if you tried to map that on a flat Earth, that that wouldn't just be traveling one direction at all times. It'd be going.
That is exactly what it does do. Yes, that is exactly what it does. When I go onto the app, I have to follow. Unfortunately, the camera keeps kicking off. I don't know if I've got a weak signal tonight, but I'll see if I can find it on the thing where it is at the moment. Yeah, it goes at the moment. See if I can get my camera to go on. It's not going to come on, is it? Oh, yeah, it has. It's come on. Like where we are at the moment, that's where the space station is at the bottom. That's the route it's taken, and obviously you can see where we are. So at the moment, we've got no chance of getting the space station. And then if I can go that, see if I can get that smaller.
But that kind of route, dude, only looks that exaggerated because there's a projection on a flat.
Absolutely, you got it 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. If you bend that around the globe, it's going. It's let me see what I've got something. So that's the globe there. It's going sort of like that as it's going round, and that's how it sort of goes round the Earth like that. So it's going in a straight line all the time, but it's sort of like an elliptical orbit as it goes round. So it's sort of like tracking the whole of the Earth. And the only bit that it actually doesn't go over is like the north and the south poles. That's a bit that it more or less misses. I mean, there's nothing there for it to look at, I suppose. But that's the way it goes down. You can 100% follow it on your phone or on the internet. And then, like I say, put the radio on. And it's funny that my radio 100% corresponds with what the space station is saying that its location is. Yeah. Absolutely 100%. It's, to me, the argument's over and done with.
Yeah, and even say geostationary satellites. So say for different things like that, still you put that on a flat Earth, and suddenly it's just not work at all.
For me, I don't know if I keep sometimes I think you were saying earlier on, you think navigation is the best way, and I was sitting here going, yeah, that's the best way, and then I was sitting here thinking about Mr. Sensible's balloon, and I was thinking, for the sake of the people that might want YouTube videos, well, that's the best one. And then I was thinking about a few other things. And as I was thinking about them, I was going, hang on. One of the reasons why I'm so confident is not because of one piece of evidence. It's because every single thing, everything requires the globe to be a globe, or nothing would work. Nothing.
And the thing with it, like you've just said there, Dave, all the different things that all go, none of it contradicts each other. Right, so like you're saying there, the navigational bit that works. Mr. Sensible sending the balloon up, that works. What I do with my radio, that works. but none of them have a confliction with each other. But a lot of with the arguments that the flat earthers have, yes, this sort of like works. What they're saying here, yeah, on that one subject, it sort of works, but it contradicts what this one says, so they both don't work, but this one sounds like, and that's literally what they've got. Theirs doesn't come together and mash as, like you're saying, as one complete thing, but everything to do with the globe. What I do, what navigational does, none of it contradicts with each other, but their arguments do.
Paul, what part of the world are you in?
For them, doesn't it?
Sorry, what part? What?
Sorry, what part of the world are you in?
I'm in the UK. I'm in Scarborough, Yorkshire.
Have you got satellite TV also? Like, do you point a satellite at the sky, or have you ever done so?
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, I'm in Ireland, and we don't have our own satellite, so we use the UK one. But like, I know if I want to get TV stations, I point my satellite at the Astra 28.2 satellite, and I know it's 28.2 because that's where it is. You know, like, and like it, like I always point it there, and it always works there. And if we're trying to say that, like, you know, that's a weather balloon or something, so you're saying somehow they've got a weather balloon in one position that everyone can point at, or at least everyone in an area can point at, and it never moves ever. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? It really doesn't. I mean, I know STST was and he believed in the flat Earth, and obviously came away from that. But I mean, I obviously believe that he was. But do you think that some of them know that it's a globe, and they're just in it?
I was saying it earlier. I struggle to believe Flatside is honest, because now I know it's old hat at this stage, but years ago, you know about the 11 frames he deleted from the video, do you?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was clearly something done intentionally. Like, you can't, as Seek said, you can't accidentally delete frames from a video. And for me, just that screams so loudly at me that I just struggle to accept that he just still believes, or maybe he believes it, but he's really I don't know how it goes. But then you get the likes of some of the real toxic guys, like, you know, Oakley and Feckin, you know, some of those, like, I'm pretty confident they don't believe. Like, the likes of, if you try and look for TV wise, Mark Sargent, he's definitely a liar. But I do still think
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think there's, like, some of the people in his chat today, like, last week or yesterday even, I think I would have thought that the only flat earthers that could possibly be left are grifters. But from the comments people were throwing at me in the chat, now some of them were awful, like, as I said, they were trying to insult me and trying all these other things. But from the comments they were thrown in, I think they believed. Like, I didn't get the impression they were grifting, you know. So I think there's definitely some of both left.
There's more than we think, but less than they think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you mean do you think there's when you say there's more than we think? Are you saying there's more than we think that are actually that they know the truth, or there's more that believe?
I mean, when I first left Flat Earth, I tried to think that everyone had the same kind of honesty as me. But as I've gone on, I've realised that more and more people will quite happily be dishonest. So I think it's probably around 60% believe in it and 40% don't. And that is my kind of educated but uneducated guess, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you're probably not too far out at that, to be honest. I mean, obviously we'll never know, but I think there is a large proportion that don't believe it, and just in there to, I don't know, get the fame of it, or I don't know. I can't understand why you would want to do it, but people do.
Have you seen MC Toon capturing out Dirth, or DIRHT, or whatever you call him? When he'll sit there going like, this picture was posted by NASA and they said this was taken from the moon, you know, and then, like, he says that over and over again. Like, there's evidence of 30, 40 of these kind of, they're not even debates. He just goes on channels that will agree with him, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
you know, he's doing this. Nobody's ever, you know, oh, this matches up with a picture that someone took, and then actually no, this is just from some island, and actually it wasn't in Greenland, it was in Canada, and you know, it's just ridiculous how anybody that actually researches that, it wasn't even an image from NASA in the first place, and he is clearly just lying and lying. So
Yeah,
people like him, like with you know, he's got that app. You know, he's got the app, hasn't
Yeah.
he? $3.99. I mean, I'm not being funny, but why isn't it free? Do you know what I mean? Like, why not just allow this thing?
Yeah.
To
I
go
mean,
out
if you're
for
trying
free?
to get the truth out there, then yeah, why are you in it for the money?
Yeah.
You're gonna get far more people using the app if it's free than you are charging money. So, yeah, is it about truth or is it about getting a bit of cash in? But
I can
like
see
you're
that's a
saying
bad
there, I mean,
argument.
if you've got to be dishonest in the evidence that you're presenting, whether it's taking the frames out or the same as what you've just mentioned there, where it wasn't from NASA, but they're claiming that it is. If you've got to be dishonest to make your point in an argument, then you're lying, and you know you're lying. And if something's true, you shouldn't need to lie to get your point across. That's what I'm trying to say, and a lot of them do.
The truth has nothing to fear.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Anyway,
I'm going to jump out because it's 10 past 12. I might still be watching on side, but I don't want to. It's the first time I've been on your channel, so I don't want to make myself unwelcome.
mate.
It's nice to have you, man.
You're good. I'm going to go to about 12:30, I think. So about another 20 minutes. So yeah, mate. All good.
If you,
You're obviously more than welcome to stay.
And if you manage to get that debate that you was on tonight, put it on your channel. Then I'd rather watch it on your channel. I'd rather support your channel than his channel. Get it put on your channel, and then I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there was many moments when he was actually physically muting me. So yeah, I think it's a fair representation actually of like, you know, what actually happened should be what happened, you know.
Yeah, I don't think apart from, you know, the stuff that they did up front, I don't think they did any underhanded stuff, to be honest.
No. So it is a fair representation actually of what happened. So I'll give him that. He didn't mute me or anything, which I'm really glad of. Yes, mate. All good, Paul. Thank you very much for coming on, mate.
And I'll carry on watching from the sidelines. You lot have a great evening.
No worries, mate.
Mate, catch you all later. Ta-ra.
Good luck.
Ta-ra, Lenny. Ta-ra. Love a bit of Yorkshire. Do it for Yorkshire. Have you got that? Well, I suppose you haven't got that over in Ireland, have you, Dave?
Nope.
No.
I don't have TV anyway.
No.
Yeah. You know, got kind of a Netflix and a Prime subscription years ago. We have those, and that'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have like a Sky or anything like that anymore. It's just a bit silly, isn't it?
Did you hear any of the controversy in Ireland over the kind of the TV license and stuff?
No.
So Irish people don't love to pay TV licenses anyway, right? It's just not something we like to do.
I must be Irish then.
but they still had, I suppose, a reasonable percentage paying it, and a couple of years ago, so I'm going to be a little vague on this, so I don't really quite remember, but a couple of years ago, some stuff came out about RTE people being paid unfairly. I think it was kind of gender related. I think men were being paid more than women for the same jobs and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it was something around those lines. And then they came out and they had a whole thing. We're sorry, we'll fix it. We'll do we'll make all our wages better. And it turns out that they were backhand paying one of the top presenters in the country anyway. And that went on for years. And that all came out recently in the last kind of subscription to the TV license went from about 90% or 85% down to, I think, under 50%. And now they're trying to think of, do we scrap it and do we try and tax it other ways, or what do we do? Yeah, like basically so many people just went, nah, feck you guys. Like I'm not paying for this. And they might have to stop it now or do something else because nobody wants to pay it anymore.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people in England the same, dude, to be honest. People have lost faith in the BBC with, like, they have had legitimate, like, cover-ups, haven't they, of, like, Jimmy Savile in the past and things like that. So people are actually kind of just thinking, why should I be forced into paying this? Because most people don't actually watch BBC nowadays. Joe?
Yeah, I said just a few when you're talking about the cover-ups. Yeah. I don't really know anyone who watches terrestrial TV that much anymore. You know, it's with all the, like you said, the prescription services and the internet. You just watch the programs when you want to watch them.
Well, that's it. Like you gave me the option to watch whatever I want, whenever I want. And now what you're telling me is you want me to pay to watch what you want me to watch when you want me to watch it. No.
It is crazy. It is crazy. They'll turn up on someone's doorstep, and basically, like, the equivalent in America is like reading you your Miranda rights, you know, and they'll basically make it sound like you're being put under arrest, and then say, like, you know, you haven't paid your TV license and you have to do this. And it's like, come on, man. Like, that is 1984, before 1984 even. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy shit. You shouldn't be forced to pay anything like that.
Yeah, the people that come to the door, they are door-to-door salesmen. They're working on commission. You just close the door on them.
Yeah.
Say, no, thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Well,
don't even give them the time of day.
I don't know what the rules are in the UK, but in Ireland, they changed them a number of years ago. Again, I don't know how many. I don't follow it all that much. But they changed the rules to, it's not that if you have a TV, you have to pay your TV license. It's if you have an electronic device capable of showing TV, you must pay a TV license, which not only takes everybody in with a computer, it takes everybody in with a phone as well. So basically, at that point, you're just like, well, just admit that it's a tax everybody has to pay and put it on our PAYE and we'd be done with it.
That is very true, actually. That is very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same in the UK. UK, it's basically if you watch it, could be watching it on anything, you know, your phone or TV, but it is if you are watching it rather than the capability, because as you said, everyone does.
How did it regulate that, though? How could they demonstrate? I suppose that they try and look in your window or something and they try and see if you're watching it or something?
Yeah, or just say they did.
Well, they do all sorts. Apparently, they have people that sit outside your house with these little antennas, and they can work out if you're watching. Yeah.
That's something they tried to say in like the 1960s. It wasn't true then. It isn't true now.
Yeah. I'm not joking with actually Joe there. Like, I'm in full, like, you know, I'm really against the BBC, to be honest. And I hate that when, like, flat earthers go, oh yeah, you follow the mainstream news and all this. I don't. I really despise mainstream news. I don't follow any of it at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, they probably are propagandists and tell you shit that isn't real, you know. But it's like a whole other story, isn't it, to the shape of the earth? You know.
But like we have, and this kind of annoys me a little bit as well. It's kind of the way things are going a little bit, which, as I said, is a little bit annoying. But we stumble around in the forests for years trying to figure out what to do and how things worked. And I don't know, like, when it was exactly, but it wasn't that long ago. But we kind of stumbled across this method that seemed to develop results. And we tried the method and it worked for a few things, and then we refined the method. And after we started doing that, all of a sudden, our ability to do stuff exploded. Like, we just, the breadth of human knowledge got insanely large, insanely fast. And we got really, really good at things, because it turns out this method we had stumbled across was incredibly effective. And that method is the scientific method, or anything that's reasonably akin to it, where what you end up doing is you put forward a hypothesis or a claim, as you were saying earlier. So you put forward something and say, here's what I think. Now, here's how I can demonstrate what I think. And then you let everybody else try and show you're wrong. And it turns out that method is really good for finding out what's most likely true. Can it lead you astray? Of course it can lead you astray. But most likely that's going to be correct. And we have so much evidence in the past couple of 100 years of just how good we can get from that, exactly how much that can provide us. And then you have people that don't understand that, which is fine. You don't have to understand everything. But you have people that don't understand that saying, all of that's wrong. And you're like, but it can't all be wrong. It just can't be. Like, we do actually have computers. So we did something with those. We do actually have, because I don't want to say satellites because they'll say we don't, but they all agree we have computers. They'll all agree we have vehicles that we can drive and all of that sort of stuff. So, where did all of this came from? It came from utilizing the scientific method to demonstrate stuff. So it works, and we know it works.
Sorry. The thing I always think about is there's a difference between like a scientific conspiracy and a political conspiracy. And, political conspiracies, us people won't have a damn clue about, if you know what I mean. Like, even if there are things going on, how the hell are we going to know about it? But like scientific conspiracy is a totally different thing. When it comes down to like the shape of the earth or, these people are lying about it, anybody can then just go and verify it for themselves. So they are totally, you can't just go, oh, actually, who did kill Kennedy? Like, and find out the real answer, so that is a conspiracy, but whereas like the shape of the earth, it's scientific. You can't lie about that for long, especially, you can lie at first, but you're going to get found out,
You can lie. You can say it's flat.
Yeah. That's true.
Do you want to check the background? Because Paul has a message from Paul saying, can you let me back in? So he might be backstage.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Yep, I know you moved on a little bit. When you were talking about TV detector vans, yeah, you're correct. They do not work. They never have worked. I was a signaller in the army for years. I know how radio waves work. I'm into amateur radio. Your TV does not transmit a signal out, so it doesn't work. Do you know how they used to do it? There was a theory behind how they did it, or there was a method.
Because surely, there's ways of measuring. Like you could probably tell that TV is working, but there's no way of telling what channel that TV is on.
No,
you know what I mean.
Well, there is actually. So I'll tell you how they used to do it. It's a bit more difficult nowadays to do it, but years ago when we used to just have the 4 channels, you ever walk past anybody's house and you can see the TV flickering through the curtains? So you're sat in the van.
Oh, you put the same channel on.
4 channels to do. You're looking at the curtains. You see how the lights reflecting off the curtains. You change the channel until your TV in the van matches the reflection that's coming onto the curtain. So now you know they're watching ITV and you know they're watching EastEnders. So what you do then is you go knock on the door. They see the detector van outside. So the heart sinks. They go, oh my God. And they go, look, we know you're watching ITV. Our detector van has picked it up. You need to pay for
BBC. BBC.
BBC.
BBC.
BBC, yeah.
Sorry,
ITV in Coronation Street, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. You're watching the BBC. And you'll go, well, yeah, I am. My curtains are drawn. How did he know the van must work? That's how they used to do it. Very clever.
Yeah.
But obviously nowadays that is a little bit more difficult due to all the channels that we've got. It's going to be impossible. But that's how it used to work years ago. And basically, you convict yourself when these people knock on the door. You say something out of turn. That's why you're best off just not speaking to them. Just close the door and just say, no, not interested. Close the door and say ta-ra. Because you convict yourself. That's mostly what happens is you slip up. A lot of people don't want to have a criminal conviction. So when the letter comes through, they're going to take them to court, either pay this or we're taking it to court. A lot of people will just pay it rather than risk the chance of going to court.
What I hate though is say some of these guys, they will, they might say, "Oh, knock on every door," but they'll go around communities where there's like elderly people or things like that, and they make them feel pressured, and they'll, like you say, they'll literally be like, "You do not have to say anything unless."
My wife says exactly the same about. I've got a TV license about 6 months ago. Last year, I decided, because I don't watch TV, I spend 90% of the time on YouTube or catch up. I don't watch any live TV whatsoever. I certainly don't watch the BBC or mainstream news. I'm just not interested in it. So I decided, I thought, right, I'm cancelling the TV license because we just don't watch it. So I cancelled the TV license, told the wife, I said, I've cancelled it. I said, so that's it. She went, well, you haven't, because you pay 6 months in advance. So it actually doesn't run out until the end of February next year. And I went, all right, okay. I said, but February next year, I said, I'm not renewing it. And she goes, well, I do watch a little bit. I said, well, okay. I says, between now and then, write down what live TV you actually watch, and then we'll work out and see whether it's feasible to pay this £160 a year for whatever amount of live TV you actually watch. I says, I think you'll find that it's just not worth the money we're paying for it, because none of us basically watch it. And anyway, long story short, basically the only thing she mainly watched live between then and February this year was the Queen's funeral. So that's literally all she watched that was actually live, which if she'd have waited 24 hours, she could have got it on
YouTube.
Anyway, or YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, she could have watched it all, but she wanted to watch it live. And basically,
also
the bottom
probably
line
not going to happen again.
It probably isn't. No, you're right. But, yeah, the bottom line was she decided to pay for the TV license.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like you say. I mean, to be honest, that's sort of like people of certain generations as well, isn't it? You know, where they've grown up on like, oh, we pay this TV license and things. So sometimes I think it's hard to expect people of certain generations to kind of see what's happened, if you know what I mean, and they just, like we probably will become a little bit blinded, and just want to stay in our happy little bubble.
Yeah. And that's basically, to me, that's what she almost said. She said, I can't be done with the hassle.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that's wrong. So basically, she's paying for a TV license because she doesn't want the hassle.
Yeah.
And that's so she's paying
harassment, isn't it?
It is, and that's exactly what it is.
Well, you know, she's scared of the harassment, is basically what she's admitted there.
Yeah,
you know, I don't want the hassle.
I said, well, that's the thing. I said that you're allowing them to bully you into doing this, and you're allowing you, and you know you're being bullied. And she was just like, I know, but I just want an easy life. And I was like, well, you pay for it.
Sorry, Dave. I'll obviously let you step in a second. I am going to call it a night. About half past. It's 27 minutes past. So we'll obviously go around and say our goodbyes, etc. It's been a legendary evening. Yeah, sorry, Paul. Maybe I'll cut you off there. If you had something else to say.
No, that was about it. I just wanted to jump in and just explain a little bit about the TV detector vans. Yeah.
Okay, mate. Thank you. And yeah, and I'm glad of that, mate, because like I say, I hate the fact that flat earthers think that like we're all like, oh yeah, we agree with everything that the MSN says, or you know, I'm only speaking for myself. Actually, I'm not speaking for Dave or Joe or anyone. But okay, you're in as well. So lovely. Yep, you're in. Yep, they do tell porcupines. For monetary gain. Dave, though, mate, you were about to say something. Like I say, we're about to wrap it up now.
Oh no, it'll start something else another time.
Another time. Next time.
Yeah.
Perfect. Would you like to say goodbye?
All right. Goodbye.
Thank you for coming along, man, and thank you for your help this evening. Jumping on in the live stream, and then actually, for being moderator.
I think we lost him
as well.
Or I lost me.
Who we lost? Am I still there?
Yeah.
A little.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I thought you lost me. Yeah, Dave, thanks so much for jumping on and attempting to moderate. And then obviously they jumped on you and wouldn't allow that to actually happen. It became a little bit unfair. And then I had a little tantrum and left. But for anyone else, yeah, he's going to get to call that like dumpster fire, STST dumpster fire. But we'll give it to him, you know. We'll give it to him. That's all right. I know deep down I destroyed here. Everyone else does as well that has a sane mind. So I don't care. Thank you again, Joe. You got anything to say, buddy, before we go?
Yeah, just one last thing. Basically, I think you and I said the same thing to Rachie in another chat. I think you have a great perspective on the flat Earth debate, having been a flat earther, you can see why someone would think that. So you can see, yes, that's why you would think that, but it's actually wrong because of this. So I think it's a great perspective and interesting to watch.
Oh, mate, thank you. Yeah, I do think it kind of helps a lot. And obviously, to most of you guys, like, you would never ever have become flat earthers. And to some people, it's like just a shock and be like, oh my god, like, how ridiculous. So I appreciate and respect like anyone that can still look at me and believe I'm worth listening to, basically, because I know that there's like actually a lot of globes out there that I've seen them in the comments and they go, who believed in flat earth at any point is a fucking idiot. So don't even bother listening to him. So to actually have people that I respect me is bloody amazing. So thank you very much, Joe. Yeah, mate, what a legend. Thank you so much for joining.
All
Paul,
right.
mate.
Okay, yep, that was
Thanks,
it.
Joe.
Have a good one.
You too, mate. Thank you. Paul, mate.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come in. It's been a blast. Unfortunately, like I say, I missed your debate, but just keep doing what you're doing, mate. That's all I can say. Just keep doing what you're doing. I love the channel.
Oh, mate, thank you very much. Everyone in the chat there, Lord, it's probing time. STST, much respect for you, matey. Legend to you as well. Martin H, Kenny Eaton, thank you all for joining us tonight. Rachie, you as well. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you again soon, and keep it global. We have measurable curvature and measurable rotation, and there is nothing flat Earth has to do about that. I'm sorry. We got it all.